Welcome back. You're still watching Nile Cruise and moving on to another topic in this edition. While the ILO reported a global youth unemployment rate of 13% in 2012, Egypt's Central Statistical Bureau, the Central Agency for Public Mobilization and Statistics, the CAMPMAS, reported a 39% among Egyptians aged 20 to 24 in December 2012. That figure is up from 23% in September 2011. This means more than 1 in 3 young people are unable to find work. Unemployment rates are known to be highest at the point leaving school, and young women are at a particular disadvantage in Egypt's labor market. For this topic and the unemployment and also the youth development, I'm joined with Dr. Maha Medhat. She's the human development expert. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, thanks.
So beginning with these figures, what does it tell you and what does it indicate about what's happening in Egypt now?
Yes, of course, the current political and economic crisis affect the employment rate in the Egyptian manpower. And as you mentioned that the International Labour Organization mentioned that there is high rate of unemployment in Egypt. On the other hand, this percentage is a little bit different than the authorities, the manpower authorities, which has declared it's about 13.2% the unemployment rate in Egypt into the first quarter of 2013, while it was in 2010 about 9.1%.
Yes.
So the differences between the unemployment rate, I think it's because of the current political and economic crisis which we face right now. Yeah. A big part of unemployment right now is because of the returning back from the tourism, so we cannot find a lot of people who visit Egypt. Maybe investors, maybe they are not willing to come to invest in Egypt right this moment. On the other hand, we don't have qualified people to look for a suitable job or to look for how to get a job. It's not necessary just to join governmental or private sector. Why don't they start their own business or something like that?
Yes.
So the culture is a little bit different than other cultures.
Definitely.
And yeah, and it's a shame that we find that Egyptian people, they go back. The ranking just has been declined among the other Arab world.
In terms of competency, do you mean?
Maybe competencies, maybe self-development, maybe yes. The labor value itself. The Arab world, they have a minor population, and they have higher income. Therefore, they dedicate a certain amount of money for development, for sending their people outside to get higher educations or something like yes. that. If you are going to talk about training, the training programs are completely different than we provide. Nowadays, if you can speak about training in Egypt, which is our main components of self-development, nowadays you are talking about communication skills, negotiation skills. It's completely different than other worlds are speaking now, right, about training. They have yes. different programs, very advanced, very complicated programs. So
not
there
the
is
basics,
a gap.
not only the basics.
Not yes. Now what we are providing right now is just basic training for development.
But even that, it seems to be there's a lot of youth that is in desperate need for this basic skills.
Yes, basic skills. On the other hand, we have a lot of initiatives within governments, NGOs, and so on. They have free of charge training programs. On the other hand, we don't find a lot of people who are willing to join the exactly. NGOs or government. So although it will be a free of charge. So if we can analyze this situation, it goes back to the culture itself.
But do you think this number is a little bit misleading, because there is a lot of youth who are employed in terms, not officially employed in an organization, but they are freelancers? For example, if we say housekeepers, electricians, yes. Even labor.
Yes, it's illegal employment, illegal. Yes. So when you calculate the unemployment rate in Egypt, you cannot consider or calculate illegal form of employments, such yes. as the rural areas or something, the housewives or something like that. So he cannot calculate. Maybe if you ask someone, maybe he cannot declare about if he's working or not, because maybe he is afraid of taxation or something like that.
Yes.
It should be taken into consideration, but in general way, we find the high rate of unemployment.
Don't you think that the government should be thinking of this specific issue in a very different way? For example, if we're looking about what you've named as illegal employment, is to give benefits to the illegally employed and to support them rather than to collect taxes, maybe collect fees for a service.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe like collect £100 in the entire year, but give them a service, enhance their skills, and support them in their jobs.
Of course, the government should support micro business, because maybe they are afraid of taxation or insurance, social insurance, or something like that. On the other hand, you will find if you are talking with the Ministry of Investments or something like that, they have 5-year exemption for taxation or something like that for huge institutions.
Yes.
Why don't we give the same privilege to micro business? Some people, they have some businesses, so maybe they need governmental support, NGO, civil society support, so maybe they can declare or find a great support from the government itself.
Yes.
And I think the future of Egypt, in order to get rid of unemployment, is SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, encouraging the entrepreneurship. How to encourage unemployed people to have their own business. Should be based on the labor needs or market needs. Maybe I can find a missing gap in the society which needs a certain project or certain idea, business idea. So I think this initiative should be declared and should be combined together in order to present a lot of initiatives for people who are unemployed to have their own business, and it will be better than nothing.
Yes. From your expertise as a human development expert, how do you think, what is the exact plan that the government should be implementing in order to raise the skills and what you mentioned previously as the ranking of these employees?
Yes. I think the Ministry of Manpower can play an important role nowadays in getting, I think they have a good relationship, or they are involved or responsible for the employment issue. So I can see that, or I imagine that they can play as consultancy big office. They can train unemployed people based on the labor needs. For example, if we have certain vacancies, so we can train our calibers or unemployed people to be matched to the gap in the labor markets. On the other hand, to link the labor needs locally and internationally. I think they are performing the same role, but it should be more professional and very wide.
But just to criticize the situation in Egypt now, don't you think the government employees themselves, they need human development?
They need a little bit, because it's,
How would you expect the government, which should be receiving huge amount of human development, and this does not really happen much with the employees, how do you expect them to lead the way and pave the way for outsider employees to become better?
Yes. I think now we are controlled by our income, our budget. Each ministry is controlled by a certain budget, so they cannot exceed the set budget. So they can have some donation from other countries in order to establish certain special units for employment. So and at the same time, maybe they can issue department for SMEs and micro business, so they can rebuild themselves by attracting funds from other countries. Maybe, for example, we can find NGOs, they are getting funds from other countries or international organizations in order to perform their activities. Why not the government get funds from other countries and establish a very, very big department for employment and SMEs and so on, and to attract the private sector calibers or experts in order to establish a very big departments, and they will be acting as consultancy office acts.
Yes. And what can you do to make better, have a better job quality? Because on the other side, they need to be developed, but at the same time, the quality of the job itself also needs to develop.
Yes. Here in Egypt, we have something wrong related to stereotype or thinking or culture. Maybe it's forbidden. Wow, I'm going to join. It's not good for me. It's not good matching with my education or something like that. But we should encourage all unemployed people to join the labor market, whatever, if it's matched or not matched, then to rebuild his capabilities, competencies in order to the labor market requirements and so on. So it should be, and we have to change our stereotype, our thinking, and our way of life, and so on.
I hope things would definitely move to the better for the youth and for also the unemployment rate. I'd like to thank you very much, Dr. Maha Medhat, Human Development Expert, for joining us today at Nile.
Thank you.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure. Now let's move on for a very short break and we'll be returning back for more.